Welcome to Identity Security, unleashed for the AI era. Today we'll be kicking off our series of sessions which will feature industry thought leaders and practitioners as well as technologists from Akeyless who will showcase the innovations. I'm very happy to have you with us today. This is an exciting moment. AI is changing the enterprise faster than any technology before it, and that creates a powerful opportunity for IAM and cybersecurity leaders. This is your moment to become enablers and accelerators of your business by leading secure adoption of AI agents across your organization. We have some exciting news to share today. But first, let me briefly introduce Akeyless. Akeyless secures billions of machine identity interactions, from cloud workloads connecting to database services, Kubernetes containers calling API servers and microfunctions, or even IoT point-of-sale endpoints communicating with data centers. Within each of these interactions, machine-to-machine authentication and authorization is made possible by using Akeyless to serve the secrets, tokens, credentials, certificates, or keys. Serving well over 200 billion machine identities interactions this year alone, the Akeyless Unified Secrets and Machine Identity Platform has achieved over 560% annual growth in just 4 years. This is all thanks to our customers, partners, and investors. Akeyless is trusted by some of the world's biggest enterprises, including top US retailers, international financial services, the largest pharma companies, as well as innovative tech giants. We deliver our highly resilient and scalable cloud-native service using the backbone of the largest hyperscalers. Our dedication to customer success has earned top ratings and awards for innovation, product excellence, and support. These qualities have been consistently recognized by leading industry analysts who identify Akeyless as a true innovator and leader in secrets and machine identity management. We've built an extensive global partner network of technology, services, and channel partners that help us deliver to customers around the world. We are proud to be backed by leading cybersecurity investors, including Deutsche Bank, who share our vision for redefining how organizations secure identities across every environment. All that brought us to having 91% of our customers choose Akeyless over large cybersecurity and infrastructure vendors. The reasons are rooted in our ground-up unified platform designed to simplify and secure every aspect of secrets and machine identity management. The platform provides broad, integrated functionality combining secrets management, PKI, privileged access management, and key management system. Our hybrid SaaS model lets organizations deploy fast and scale effortlessly. At its core, the model is enabled by our innovative trust model, the Akeyless DFC, which ensures that neither Akeyless nor any other third party is able to disclose the customer's secrets. The result is an extreme operational efficiency and cost savings of up to 70% compared to our competitors. Now, getting back to why we are here today, the rise of agentic AI creates new security risks. But what does that mean for identity security? Let's explore a few identity-related critical concerns that define this new paradigm. First, AI agents are expected to increase in volume, scale, and complexity, outnumbering human identities in greater ratios that we have never seen before, not even when we dealt with machine or workload identities. Agents are expected to create far more connectivity between humans, machines, as well as agent-to-agent interactions. Each of those interactions require authentication, meaning far more secrets, credentials, and certificates will be used. This trend will increase the effort required to build and maintain highly available identity providers and secrets management systems. Second, unlike traditional machines or applications, AI agents are aware of their identities and secrets, and therefore are able to expose them. In recent example shown in Black Hat, researchers have poisoned ChatGPT connectors to retrieve API keys and secrets using a malicious prompt embedded in a document. This is very different than what we have seen when dealing with more simple machine identities attacks. This time, it is not just a code repo that was exposed by a human error, like happened in XAI, rather than abusing agents and LLM models to make them expose authentication secrets. In order to solve this major risk, our future solutions must adopt just-in-time and zero-standing privileges concepts by issuing temporary identities that are valid only for the time being used. Simply put, password rotation is not enough any longer. Secretless methods are the future. Finally, in many implementations, AI agents architecture will require cross-domains authentication. For example, when a certain on-prem application wishes to connect to cloud application, they don't share the same trust domain, which end up many times with the bad practices of static authentication. When it comes to AI, many companies will consume LLM from a certain service or cloud provider, while the LLM will eventually require access to the data in other environments, such as on-prem or a different cloud provider. Each of those domains uses different IAM systems. Future solutions are required to secure such federation, as well as support the great variety of ways to authenticate. The AI agent security challenges that we just discussed is what industry analysts are also seeing. In a recent IAM report, Gartner indicated that AI agents need to not just interact with users to serve their requests, but also access resources across environments, legacy systems, and other internal and external AI agents. The core requirement to make this possible is two things: credential management and identity provider. In addition, Gartner also highlights the importance of oversight and audit capabilities. Without that structure, these agentic systems become impossible to govern and easy to exploit. Now that you have a good understanding of the challenges related to AI agents and the requirements, let's talk about solutions. Today, we are announcing our AI agent security capabilities in our identity security platform. Akeyless AI Agent Security is purpose-built to protect the way AI agents authenticate, connect, and operate. It introduces a new identity model designed for autonomous, ephemeral, and dynamic workloads. The first pillar is secretless AI. We enable the removal of secrets from the agent's code entirely. Instead, secrets are dynamically created and retrieved in real time only when needed. No hard-coded secrets, no secret zero, no static exposure. The AI agent gets temporary access, performs its tasks, and then access disappears. It's simple and secure. The second, AI agent identity provider, is the authentication and authorization layer. This brings true identity and access control to AI agents. We create ephemeral access, just-in-time tokens that are used once and instantly terminated. We also enable identity federation across clouds, workloads, and platforms, so AI agents can authenticate anywhere securely. We support both modern protocols like SPIFFE, Spire, OAuth, and OIDC, as well as classic authentication schemes, both for on-prem environments and cloud. In short, the AI agent becomes a fully managed, trusted identity. The third pillar, privileged AI agent access. Even AI agents need oversight when connecting to critical systems. Here, we apply zero trust access both at the network and the identity layers. Privileged agents connect through a secure proxy, only when needed and only for the duration of that session. Every session can be recorded, and if an agent behaves unexpectedly, it can be terminated instantly. This gives organizations full visibility and control without limiting automation. All three pillars of the Akeyless AI Agent Identity Security are MCP enabled and are generally available today for you to implement. Together, these pillars make it possible for AI agents to work securely without slowing innovation. But that's not all. We've taken it a step further. Coming in 2026, we're excited to introduce Akeyless AI Insights. The AI Insights engine adds an intelligent layer that helps security teams discover, understand, and remediate identity risks automatically. With AI Insights, you can ask questions in plain language. You can ask things like, show me secrets accessed in the last week by specific identity. AI Insights instantly pulls live data and gives clear, contextual answers. Then comes discovery. Our AI Insights engine continuously maps secrets and identities across environments, uncovering issues like unused credentials or excessive privileges. Our solution also automates the fixes like enforcing least privilege with just-in-time temporary identities and providing comprehensive reporting. Now, let me tell you how this fits into our broader platform. Everything identity starts with a strong cryptographic foundation. The Akeyless platform is powered by our patented distributed fragments cryptography, which secures every secret, key, and certificate without ever exposing the full key. The platform includes the capabilities of encryption, multi-cloud key management, and tokenization. What we're known best for today is machine identity management. We deliver secrets management and certificate automation, as well as workload identity federation. So workloads can authenticate securely across clouds and legacy systems. We also provide multi-vault governance, giving teams centralized visibility and control across every vault in the cloud or on-prem. To secure identities, human identities, we've modernized privileged access management and extended it with zero trust application access using just-in-time connections and administrators and external vendors. Then, of course, the Akeyless AI solution, which we just talked about. As part of this series, we will take you through each of the platform's capabilities and show you how the different solutions work. We will demonstrate how all of this is done through a unified platform, single UI, single API. Remember at start, when I said this is now the opportunity to be an enabler and accelerator? With AI transforming how systems connect, communicate, and make decisions, security and IAM teams now have the chance to lead that change, not chase it. Lead safe adoption across complex environments and trust zones, even when models, orchestrators, and data sits in different places. You can reduce identity risk with zero standing privileges and secreted access, so speed doesn't come at the expense of control. Akeyless now enables you to shift identity left into AI application design. Bake in secretless access, an agent, identity provider, and privileged monitoring from the start, so compliance is simpler and proof is consistent and immediate. Discovery will always be reactive, yet providing identities at runtime is how you get proactive. I'd like to thank you for joining me in our session. I invite you to join the entire series so you can learn more from industry professionals and see our solution in action. Next, I'd like to welcome Admiral Mike Rogers, former NSA Director, to talk to us about AI agent cybersecurity top concerns. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Identity Security Unleashed for the AI era. Very excited to have here with us Admiral Mike Rogers, former NSA Director, an operating partner and a teammate. Mike, thank you for joining us.
Oh, that's great to be with you as always.
Yeah, where are we getting you right now on the globe?
I am in Melbourne, Australia today.
Oh, this is exciting. Well, thank you again for joining us from there. Here we are in New York. Happy to connect on that end. So basically, Mike, obviously, as we spoke in the past, we would like we're very much interested to hear from you about what you're hearing right now in the world from professionals and your view with regards to the top security concerns with regards to AI agents.
Yeah, so broadly, when I take away for the organizations that I led, Cyber Command and NSA, so our focus was both defending networks as well as penetrating networks. And as a defender, one of the things that struck me was complexity is growing, both in terms of the threat, but also in terms of the solutions we're employing. And one of my biggest frustrations always was, guys, we have got to simplify things if we're going to get to speed and scale. Secondly, as we created more and more remote access, as our attack surface just kept exploding, I got really concerned about identity, because my concern was, guys, look, as an attacker, if I put on my other hat, compromising identity is one of the key techniques that we will often use. And we tend to focus on identity from a human perspective. Look at the changes that we've seen over the last 3 to 5 years. Identity from a machine perspective is just exploding. You're getting greater growth right now in terms of machine access in some ways than human access. And so identity from a machine perspective is becoming a massive problem, and we need to make it simpler, not harder. And the solutions we need to come up with need to be simpler, not harder.
That's for sure. And obviously this is all about what we're having in this series of sessions, and thank you for emphasizing it. Besides identity, the things that you're hearing more with regards to other concerns with AI agents, what other aspects do you hear about?
So look, everybody's trying to maximize the effectiveness of AI and how they're applying it. And so clearly, we're the next kind of evolution you're seeing is this idea of AI agents as vehicles to create massive speed and scale for us, to make us much more efficient, much more effective, if you will, in how we're applying artificial intelligence within our organizations. But the challenge with that to me is, so you look at those AI agents, you're talking about autonomy, you're talking about reasoning and planning, you're talking adaptability. Those are all very good things, don't get me wrong. But if we're going to build much of our operational concept around maximizing the application of these agents, then protecting their security and protecting their identity becomes a really new challenge for us. I'm a little concerned that we haven't necessarily thought that all the way through. Not a criticism, just an observation.
Yeah, of course. What with regards to the amount of data that they are about to have, like when AI agent is running, right? LLM models require so much access to so much information, and how difficult it is sometimes, right, to differentiate whether a certain AI agent should have a certain access to a certain data, while the reviewer or the requester or the human behind the prompt actually doesn't have that level of data. It seems like right now, most of the AI being used in the public domain is built out of public information, so we less see it. But when it comes to enterprise and to obviously national use, it changes the picture, isn't it?
Oh yeah, you're going to see a whole lot more data from a whole lot more sources, if you will. It kind of reminds me, think about a car engine. Data is the fuel in many ways. Now, when you're running a small engine, your fuel consumption is much less. When you're using a high performance engine that's built for speed, for maximum energy output, so to speak, in the form of horsepower, you see how your energy consumption goes way up, how much more you're more reliant on access to fuel. And that's what you're going to see with AI agents to me. Data becomes the fuel. And as we tune these agents to become more and more powerful, more and more effective, the flip side is they're going to be built around access to more and more data. So that's, man, from a security standpoint, from a flow standpoint, those are not insignificant challenges.
Are you optimistic with regards to our capabilities to really overcome this kind of a threat or a concern in terms of cybersecurity?
I mean, I am, because my view is there are certainly tougher technical problems out there. To me, this starts with a mindset that realizes that as we change the way we are operating, as we employ new technologies like AI agents, that part of our responsibility to me is to not just focus on the efficiency and the output that they generate, but we also got to think about, so what is the risk associated with them and how do we mitigate that? Now, I think we can mitigate the risk. That this is an area where I personally feel very comfortable.
All right, Mike, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing with us, the concerns that you're hearing around with regards to AI agents. We would love you to join us to the entire series of sessions also and to view it together with us. But we wish you great success.
Oded, thanks. And my congratulations to Akeyless and the rollout of the new unified platform. I just think it's a really great strategy that's very much optimized for the challenges that we're facing today and tomorrow.
Thank you so much, Mike.
Hey, have
All
a
right, take care.
great
Good luck
weekend.
in Australia.
Thanks. See you later.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching our session and interview with Admiral Mike Rogers. Now let's continue to our next part within our first episode of Identity Security Unleashed for the AI Era. So within our first episode, focusing on the AI agent identity security. Today with us, Dr. Conor Mancone, our Principal Solution Architect in the US. Conor, how are you?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here.
All right, this is good to see you and good to be with us. So, to our great viewers, today we're going to focus, as we started on this episode, with entire overviewing, obviously, all of our platform. We've overviewed machine identity security, human identity security, our foundation within the cryptography, as well as the AI agents. But for this session, we're going to focus on the AI agent identity security and the pillars within that suite of solutions. The first pillar is with the secretless AI, the ability to eliminate all the credentials that are needed in order to make sure that AI agents do not have access to static credentials, and that includes also secret zero removal. So Conor would obviously demonstrate that today of how not to use any secrets whatsoever. The second component within the AI agent identity provider, how to provide those ephemeral access based on dynamic identities. And the third piece is with AI Agent PAM. This one we will demo later on. But in this particular session, we're going to focus on those two. And with that, Conor, this is to you.
Yeah, and so this is exactly what I would love to show you how to do today. I know a lot of companies out there really want to be using and are even starting to use AI as much as they can to help automate processes and simplify systems and save time and money, which we all like. But of course, you don't want to create risks as you do it. And secrets, as always, are risks. Just like, 10, 20 years ago, you want to be careful about sticking access credentials and static access credentials and files everywhere. It's something you need to be cautious about always. And in the AI world, you need to be even more cautious, because the last thing you want is for those to be accessible to your AI agents and to your LLMs, because once they get there, who knows where they go next. There's definitely risks of them being actively exposed, and that's what we want to show you how to avoid. And so there's two parts of that I'm going to talk to you today. One is Akeyless as an AI agent identity provider. And that's the first part of this talk that I'm going to focus on in this demo. And this is just a very simple architecture diagram to show you what we're going to be doing. I'm going to demonstrate using a very simple orchestrator to launch an AI agent in the cloud. It's going to be using a machine identity to get an ephemeral identity for the AI agent itself. So it's going to use Akeyless to generate a short-lived credential to actually launch that AI agent so it can go off and do the job it needs to do. And so that's exactly what I'm going to be showing you how to do. And for the second part, I'm going to be showing how to bring these secretless concepts to your MCP servers. So for those of you who are not familiar, MCP is a very, very important and very common concept inside the AI world. You can kind of think of it as an API for your AI agents. The idea here is that your MCP server is what actually interacts with the different resources, whether it's a database or your file system or your communication channels, whatever. You don't typically give the AI agent direct access to those resources. Instead, you have an MCP server in the middle that brokers that access. And so today I'm going to demonstrate how we can use Akeyless, not just to connect the AI agent in an ephemeral way, which is, of course, a great start for this, but also how we can use dynamic identities and ephemeral identities with the MCP servers themselves. And so, again, the goal of all of this is to, just like was discussed in those opening remarks, the goal of all of this is to make sure that we're using ephemeral identities for our AI agents and for all of their workloads so that we can protect our company from exposed access credentials. So we're kicking it off. Welcome to Akeyless. For those of you who have never seen our platform before, this is it. And we have everything you need to manage authentication and roles and machine identities and secrets for all of your needs, not just AI agents, but that's what we're going to focus on today. And so for that first demo, I want to talk about ephemeral identities for your AI agents themselves. And so to make that happen, what I have here is a dynamic producer, dynamic secret, dynamic producer. These are the things we call it. And really what this is about is an ephemeral identity for your AI agents. And so this is an open AI dynamic secret, which means it's actually going to generate credentials for OpenAI itself. It's going to create them. It's going to track how long they're supposed to live, and then it's going to destroy them afterwards to make sure that everybody always has those ephemeral identities, those short-lived credentials. So you've got that zero standing permissions going for your AI workloads, right? And so I've already set this up. This is going to generate short-lived dynamic credentials for AI, which my orchestrator is going to use to launch my agents. And so I actually have a little bit of code here that we're going to touch on very briefly. And so what's going on in this code is that this is Python. This is my AI orchestrator. It's authenticating to Akeyless using AWS IAM authentication. And so it's my orchestrator is authenticating to Akeyless using a machine identity. Again, that's just one form of ephemeral identity for things that live in the cloud. So there's no static tokens here. This isn't a static token. This is just a piece of configuration. But we're able to use that machine identity connect to Akeyless. And then we're going to fetch a dynamic secret, aka an ephemeral identity, out of Akeyless, specifically an OpenAI API key, a short-lived one, that we're going to then pass into, that we're going to use to launch our AI agents running inside the cloud. And that's what it all comes down to. And again, Akeyless is going to generate those identities. It's going to track their TTL. It's going to remove them afterwards. And so just to give you an idea of what we're looking at here, I'm already connected to my OpenAI account, and I've got a couple already running in the background. And so when I launch this process, what we should see is another API key showing up, and each of those API keys represents an ephemeral identity of an AI agent that's using Akeyless to broker its access. So voila, I'm just going to run my orchestrator. I mean, obviously, I just have the code set up, nice and easy to run. It's connecting to Akeyless using its machine identity. It's fetching a temporary access credential. And so if I refresh my screen, you now see, hey, look, I've got a third identity here inside my OpenAI account for this new AI agent that I've launched with my orchestrator. And we can see that on the Akeyless side as well. So if I come over back to Akeyless and come to my dynamic producer, I can view the temporary credentials. Akeyless is tracking all of those temporary credentials, all of those ephemeral identities that it has issued. It's tracking them. It knows how long they are going to live. Here's the one that was just generated. And when their time is up, it's going to come here and it's going to proactively revoke them so that you don't have to worry about access credentials accidentally being left anywhere. And you do have full control over this process. For the current iteration of our OpenAI dynamic producer, you can control which which OpenAI projects those identities are issued for. And of course, you can also control how long they live. This is fully editable. If you have a workload that's living for a very short period of time, it just runs things very quickly. You can set it in seconds, or if you have a longer running workload, you can give them a lifetime of days. You have full control over how long they live and where they get issued. So you can very tightly control permissions in your project. And it's really as simple as that. And that's what we want. We want it to be nice and easy for your engineers to manage these and to control these. And so that is how it works. So on the second piece, I wanted to talk through the situation of interacting with MCP servers. And I think this is definitely worth visiting because, like with any application development, there's a good way to do it and there's a dangerous way to do it. And obviously, we want to avoid the dangerous ways. We want to do this in a way that's going to minimize risk for our companies while streamlining development. And so that's where Akeyless comes in, and that's what I want to show you. So for starters, I wanted to, for my demo, I'm set up to talk to a MongoDB database. So the use case here is I want my LLM agent to communicate with a MongoDB database, and I wanted to do it with just-in-time credentials, those short-lived credentials, those ephemeral identities, so I'm not setting up static credentials everywhere. And for those of you who have never set up an MCP server before, the configuration is really very straightforward. Whether you're running it locally or in the cloud, typically there's a configuration file where you tell the LLM agents how to connect to those destinations. So here is the official MongoDB MCP server published by MongoDB themselves. And again, it's just a little bit of configuration. And here's the thing to watch out for. They typically do show you, like the first examples are sticking credentials inside of these static environment variables, those static files. And that's what we want to avoid, and that's what I'm going to show you how to avoid. And the way we do that is, again, we transition from, instead of using static credentials, we want to use those ephemeral identities. But now it's an ephemeral identity for MongoDB itself. And so I have Akeyless integrated with my MongoDB database. Just like we saw with OpenAI, Akeyless is going to be able to issue and revoke and manage short-lived access credentials for my workloads. And I want to use that with my MCP server. And one really nice part about this, which I like to emphasize, is that you have full control over what kind of permissions are granted through Akeyless. So in this case, you have a lot of options. The simplest one is with MongoDB roles. When Akeyless is creating this temporary identity, it can assign roles to it. So maybe your read-only role, maybe your dev environment, maybe you have a second, dynamic producer for your production environment, and you can control who has access to those independently, right? So you have a lot of control over who and what you're granting access to, right here from Akeyless itself. That stuff is already built in. It's been our bread and butter for a long time now. And so I have my dynamic secret for MongoDB. It's going to be managing these ephemeral identities. And so inside of my MCP world, I've really just made a very small change. Instead of, launching the MCP server myself and providing it with static credentials, I just have a small wrapper that connects to Akeyless and fetches one of those ephemeral identities out of this dynamic producer. And then this little wrapper is going to launch the MCP server using those temporary credentials. And the nice part about this is now there's really no way for those credentials to be stolen, because at this point in time, there's no credentials in a configuration file. There's no credentials in a static file, because this is a process that's going to be launched. What ends up happening is these credentials only ever live in memory, and they're provided that way to the MCP server itself. And so stealing those would involve getting them out of the machine's memory, which is typically very difficult. And even if something managed to do that, they're short-lived. They're going to be dead within less than an hour, or whatever you configure the TTL for. Like, Akeyless is going to clean them up afterwards. So this is really as secure as you can get, especially because you can also manage, hey, what permissions do these credentials have? Like, you have full control over that on the Akeyless side. And so this is what we want to do. We want to provide those, we want to use those temporary credentials and make sure that is what our MCP server is using instead of static credentials. And one really nice part is Akeyless has a lot of authentication options. So if you have developers who are doing this locally, so this is where the actual authentication to Akeyless happens, is hiding right in here with our Akeyless CLI. If you have developers that are running this locally, they can use their human identities. If you're running this in a cloud environment, you can use the machine identities there. You can put authentication layers in front of this if it's a remote server to authenticate those AI agents however you need to do. In terms of Akeyless, we'll happily help you do that. We can, support OIDC authentication, which is very common to authenticate your AI agents. We can also support, other, cloud identity authentication schemes. So you have a lot of options for how to control access to make sure you have the solution that makes the most sense for your company. Anyway, I'm talking lots, but here you go. I have it set up and ready to go. And so this is actually my configuration. I'm now working inside my local LLM-driven IDE. And so I can query it to go talk to my MongoDB database, and it's actually going to generate a short-lived credential and connect to that database, and that's what it's going to be used when talking to Mongo. And so I can say, summarize summarize information about my MongoDB server. And we'll go off. And it should, yeah, it's now listing databases. It's already connected to my database using one of those ephemeral identities. It's going to go run all of its things that it needs to run, and it's going to split out some simple information about what's in here. It's not a lot, just some contacts, some companies, everything I need to know about this MongoDB server. And again, the point is very simple. It is now connected to my database using an ephemeral identity. I don't need to worry about my LLM getting access to static secrets. And most importantly, if I come back to Akeyless and I can once again view my temporary credentials, I will see all of the sessions that have been opened to connect to that database. And if I need to, maybe I have a misbehaving AI agent, I can revoke those credentials and immediately kick it out of my database. I have full control over the AI lifecycle of how it connects to my data. And that is what we want to do. And that is what Akeyless will let you do with our AI agent security. So that's what I have for the demo. Oded, off to you.
Yeah, Connor, while you spoke, there was a question from the audience that I got on live, which is they were asking about the secret zero. Like, how exactly is it authenticated? You started to obviously show that, but the authentication methods, I think that's a thing that will be important and interesting for our audience to see. If you can go through those authentication methods, a different way to authenticate to Akeyless.
Yeah, I'd be very happy to. So authentication methods is where that starts, and we have a variety. Really, we support just about whatever your system is, whatever you need, we support it for authentication in terms of avoiding secret zero. And so the starting place for most companies these days are the cloud identity providers. So we support AWS IAM authentication, Azure, GCP, and Oracle as well out of the box. And so what these authentication methods do is they effectively turn your cloud provider into a trusted third-party identity provider. So if you have some resource running on AWS and it needs to log into Akeyless, you don't have to give it a static access token. Instead, it comes to Akeyless and says, hey, I'm coming from AWS. And what we will do is we will talk to AWS itself to verify the identity of that machine using those IAM roles that you already have in place so that you don't have to hand out an access token and your workloads can still get access to Akeyless. We also have, we support OAuth 2, which is typically with JWTs. So this is most commonly used for pipelines. If you're running on GitHub or GitLab and the like, they will publish a JWT, which you can use to authenticate to Akeyless. So again, you don't need a static token. We can easily authenticate your Kubernetes workloads if you have your own certificate authority running in your services. And so everything has a certificate. We can authenticate your workloads using those. Your humans, of course, we support SAML and OIDC authentication, LDAP, just like you would expect. So your humans should never need an API key. And I will just to say out loud, you can use all of these authentication methods both in the UI as well as the API, the SDK, the CLI. And so, you shouldn't even have to have one of those cases where a user's like, oh, hey, I log into the UI via SAML, but now I need to do something from my CLI. So let me go create myself an access token. They can use their human identities just the same programmatically. And finally, universal identity is how we bring machine identity to any of your on-prem workloads. And so a lot of times secret managers like this struggle with the on-prem world. They don't really have a way to bring machine identity there. So you end up with static tokens, but universal identity lets you bring machine identity everywhere. So that's the quick summary of authentication methods and how you get into Akeyless in the first place.
All right, great. I'm sure that our audience definitely got a good answer with regards to that. And I think that it's good to also, at least mention, and for some people that may be struggling with the concept of secret zero, the whole point here is basically how to make sure that when your workloads are authenticating to the identity provider / the secret manager solution, they would not need to use an API key from the first place, right? And then when Akeyless is authenticating those workloads, just like within this picture in front of us, then they'll be able to get the dynamic secret. So Connor, if you can stop sharing on your screen and I'll continue from there. But basically the whole point, as we can see here, is that the AI agent, when it authenticates to Akeyless itself, then it's built on the authentication of the authentication methods, right, with no secret zero, in order to get authentication to the LLM provider, as we saw at the beginning, which was the OpenAI. And then on the second scenario, it was the same AI agent, but now after connecting to the MCP server was the one to authenticate to Akeyless, again, without any API key and requesting access to the MongoDB, etc., and that dynamic identity have been created. So on those. Connor, thank you so much for being us today and leading us on this demo. We're going to see you more on other demos that we're going to see within the series. Thank you guys for joining us for this episode. With that, we're ending the first episode of Identity Security Unleashed for the AI Era. Coming up next, within our next episode to be broadcasted, we have a special guest, DJ Goldworthy, VP Security of Aflac. We're going to talk about the convergence within identity security realm. What does it include? What exactly does it mean? All different tools, all different actions, the IGA, the PAM, the access management, everything converged, but also some more surprises within our conversation. I encourage you to go into our website and register within the landing AI identity security. You'll be able to obviously see all the different episodes that we're having. This list will be more and more. But now, right now, finalizing the first episode with our special guest and the interview that we just had with Admiral Mike Rogers, the former NSA Director, and our next episode with special guest DJ Goldworthy speaking about the convergence. You'll be able to see more and more from that coming up next. Thank you again so much for joining us to another episode, and we'll see you next.